What is it doing? Oh, are we live? Why is it saying a different stream then? I'm confused. Anyway, can we do it away at Everton after Aston Villa and Chelsea have both dropped points? Another huge opportunity tonight for us to push for those Champions League qualifications. And what is the team to get the job done? Apparently, this one, according to Michael Carrick, not many changes apart from one glaring, obvious one, and that being Lisandro Martinez missing from the back line. So we've got Lamont, Maguire, and Yoro as your centre-back partnership. We've got Dalot and Luke Shaw as the wing-backs. We've got Casemiro, Manu, and Bruno, as always. In the middle of the park, Ahmad, and Mbumo, and Cunha as your front three. So, yeah, not starting Benjamin Sesko up top. That was a question mark that everybody had. No one knew Lisandro Martinez was actually injured up until the point when, Laurie Whitwell's just tweeted it probably 20 minutes ago, something like that, which is a huge miss. And we all know why Lisandro Martinez is a huge miss. Is because his progression from the back is hugely important, how press resistant he is. Obviously, the fact that he's a leader, all those things, we know what we get with Lisandro Martinez. And because he's missing, that's a huge, huge blow for us. But I'm just checking, definitely live here. I don't know what's going on. Let me just double check because for whatever reason, YouTube's being really, really weird. If you are in the comments, please do let me know. Studio's just being mad weird. It's not saving if I'm live. I think I am, but I'm sure one of you will let me know in a minute anyway. What the fuck is going on here? I'm alive. Having one of them moments as a streamer where you're like, yeah, Jono, if you're in the chat, let me know, please, brother. If I am, oh, now my speaker's going off. What's going on? That's because I'm checking. Yeah, I'm live. I'm live, right? I'm just going to keep going until people say otherwise. So, yeah, Lisandro Martinez being out, massive, massive blow for United. And do you know what? It's you never want anyone to be injured, but when you're going throughout a team and you look at certain individual players, you're thinking, okay, if Dalot's out, is it the end of the world? No, because we could probably bring Mazraoui in, and it's not going to be that much of a difference. If someone like, one of the attackers is out, is that going to be a massive difference? Probably not, because we've got someone like Sesko to come on and we could just push Mbumo out wide. If there's one player who you don't want to be out, it is Lisandro, because he's hugely important to us. So Yoro coming in there. I thought they might go with Aiden Heaven, because I think Aiden Heaven, I don't know if you would agree, I think Aiden Heaven's probably better on the ball than Lenny Yoro from what I've seen. I think he was quite confident that period that he had in around December time, I want to say, when we played against like Wolves and these teams. Although he did have, mistakes in that game, on the ball, he was good. But then on the flip side of that coin, you could say, well, Lenny Yoro, when he came on as a sub in the last game against West Ham, he made two mega blocks, I think, against Adama Traore, one of them, and I can't remember the other one. But when he came on, he had a massive, massive impact. And obviously the goal that Sesko scored will get the headlines from that game. But if you are a pure defender at heart, you will really, really appreciate what Lenny Yoro did coming on in that game. So am I surprised that Yoro's starting? No. Also, by the way, the reason why on the graphic, and people might not be asked at all, but there might be some people thinking why they're in a red kit, but then we're gone with the away kit themes. I actually don't know what kit we're playing in, because sometimes we'll play a team that are in blue when we're away from home, and they'll be playing in the red kit. Sometimes, obviously, we are away from home, so they play in the away kit. I don't know what they're playing in. I have absolutely no idea. So why not go for a mixture of two, and then you can't be wrong, can you? Do you know what I'm saying? I agreed I'd have gone Heaven, and the fact that he's naturally left-footed as well, right? When we talk about certain angles in, I remember Eric Tanag always going on about this. Having left-footed just balances your team out naturally, because we don't have too many. I mean, Luke Shaw is the only left-footed player. Oh, no, sorry, Ahmad Diallo. Him and Luke Shaw are the only two left-footed players on the pitch. So when you talk about certain angles, that can kind of disrupt that a little bit. But again, are there many surprises that Carrick's gone with the same team again? Like, close to it. There's not. We knew it would probably happen. On our bench, we've got Bayern, Heaven, Malacio, Mazraoui, Tyler Fletcher, Ugarte, Morehouse, Sesko, and Xerxes. Why do I feel like there's some senior names missing from there? Bayern, Heaven, Malacio, Mazraoui, Tyler Fletcher, Ugarte, Morehouse. So who's missing? Just Delit and Lisandro? Are they the experienced ones that are missing, I think? As for Everton, they've got Pickford in there, Garner at right back, I think, Tarkowski, Keane, and Branthwaite. Gay Irabunum, I can't say that name. I tried my best. Irabunum, that's what I'm going with. Armstrong, Dewsbury Hall, Njai, and Barre. That was the big question mark for Everton because Jake O'Brien got sent off in their last game against Bournemouth, who was going to start at the back. And they've gone with Garnott, I'm guessing, unless they've done a back three maybe, and gone with wing backs, which I don't think they would have done. So I'm guessing it's Garnott, Tarkowski, Keane, and Branthwaite at left back. Branthwaite at left back's a very interesting one because I picked out. You'll see towards the end, I picked out a certain duel with Ahmad and maybe Mikolenko, but Mikolenko's not even playing by the looks of it. So yeah, Branthwaite there's interesting. Obviously, we'd been previously linked with him. I'm not seeing much of him this season, but I'm guessing that's because he's been injured because he is quite injury prone. So as for us, listen, I always go from the goalkeeper through to the striker. So again, conversations, opinions, always welcome. Le Mans starting in net. We've got Edwin van der Sar on Monday Night Football tonight, which is, I'm sure, I mean, Gary Neville's already done like a bit of a video with him on his Overlap channel, and they've spoken about Le Mans, and he actually said, you know, he's from Belgium, so obviously Edwin van der Sar is Dutch. Le Mans is from Belgium. He says, you know, apparently that means that you're down to earth, according to him. So in terms of personality, some similarities there. He claims with confidence. So when crosses go into the box, very, very strong. I remember him getting cheered in one of his first games. Can't remember. It might have been against Brighton or something in the reverse fixture. He just claimed the cross and everyone went mad, like we just scored a goal, and that's because of how shit our previous goalkeepers were. So, yeah, doesn't look for camera saves or something that Van der Sar mentioned. He looks like the full package. He can deal with the physicality of the Premier League. And correct me if I'm wrong, people, but Son Le Mans is 23, I want to say. Let's have a look. Yeah, 23. 7th of July, which is 5 days after my birthday. Interesting. And he likes golf. So me and Son Le Mans have a lot more in common than I thought. So yeah, Le Mans, I'm liking the look of him at the minute. You have to admit he has brought so much calmness in that whether it was like headless chickens at time, wasn't it? I think you always say nervousness breeds nervousness, doesn't it? If you have one player who's a bit shaky, it makes everyone else worry subconsciously. And I always felt like whenever we had Bayandere or whenever we had Andre Onana, there was always that subconscious thought that he might slip up or he might drop a shot. So you can't be as proactive as a player because you're always constantly worried about what the fuck this guy behind us is going to do. Like, you know, it's like you've got a house burning on fire behind you. You can't really focus on what's going on in front of you, can you? Because you're worried about everything there. So Le Mans has brought that steadiness, calmness, professionalism, and has just been pretty solid most games. He's had maybe one or two, you can't even call them hiccups, one or two things where you think maybe you should have saved that. I think the Danny Welbeck one against Brighton, the free kick, I remember. And I think there was another one more potentially that if you're nitpicking, you can go at. But apart from that, I mean, it's night and day from Andre Onana. I actually forgot Andre Onana is still a player for us. For some reason in my head, he'd already been sold and shipped off and go to Turkey and play there. But he's on loan in here to Trabzonspor. So he's going to come back. We'll have to try and get a sale for him. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Bayandere if we're going to keep him as a secondary keeper, which I still wouldn't feel necessarily comfortable with. But no doubt about it, Le Mans has been an absolute breath of fresh air. As for Maguire and Yoro, I've already kind of spoken about. Harry Maguire coming back in, I think that whole kind of contract situation is going to be fascinating, isn't it? Because I would like to see him stay on. I don't know how they're going to find that agreement, what kind of wages they're going to go at, because he's currently on 200,000. I imagine United want to drop that down to around 150, 160, something along the lines of that. Is he going to want to drop £50,000 from his wage per week? Probably not either. So they've got to find some kind of common middle ground. You've heard a lot of the talks and a lot of reports that he wants to maybe retire at Manchester United, which I don't want to be a charity for people, but if you're still playing at the level that he is, then you're not a charity, are you? He's putting in the work. And I don't feel like, I've mentioned this quite a few times before on the channel, I don't feel like we've got enough experienced players in the team, especially with a couple of players leaving. If Casemiro goes in the middle of the park, you're looking at your senior players as just Bruno and Maguire, really. And by senior, I mean, been about in the game for long enough, been, 10, 12 years into the senior career. That's like an experienced player for me. I appreciate that, when Boomer's been in the Prem for 4 years. I appreciate that someone like Luke Shaw is another one, sorry, who I forgot, who's obviously been at United for 10 years, has seen it all and been through it. We don't have many of those players. And it's a balancing act sometimes. So if you've got a spine of that, and then you can kind of complement that with younger, talented players, that's what I'd like to see in a team. I think if you look at any successful team that have been there and done it, they have a blend of that. I hate using Man City as an example, but obviously when they won the treble, you had experienced players like Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, Ruben Diaz is still considered relatively experienced. Same thing with Edison. Jack Grealish has been about for a bit, but then they had young talents come through like Erling Haaland and Phil Foden and these kind of guys. So, yeah, a nice blend is what I want to see. And that back line definitely has it, by the way. You've got Le Mans, who's quite young, but Yoro's young as well. Maguire and Shaw, the experienced ones, and then Dallow's somewhere in the middle. Dallow's the one for me that I'm quite fascinated with. He done an interview recently with Rio Ferdinand, didn't he, talking about the biggest difference in his game, and he was like, it's basically saying it's night and day. When you play a back four, as a fullback, you always have a winger that's in front of you. You always have that option to pick from, and you're facing the goal. Then, obviously, in a position in Ruben Amorim's system, for example, you're receiving it on the back foot. You're more of a wing back. It's a bit of a hybrid position, so it's a little bit confusing at times. And when you've been playing somewhere your whole life, that is what becomes comfort to you. If you've got a habit for 20 years and someone says, yeah, stop doing that habit, it's hard to get out of it. And again, I'll use golf as an example for this, because I'm playing golf right now, right? I am 8 months deep into my quote-unquote golf journey. And it's difficult. You don't really have anyone from the start saying this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And there's so many different variables and technical differences in golf that, do you have a weak grip? Do you have a strong grip? Do you stand closer to the ball? Do you stand further away? Where's your ball position? There's a million things that go through your head, right? But you start naturally, everyone has their own kind of swing type. So you start developing your own swing type before you get any kind of lessons or anything. You just play for 6 months and then you develop these things. Then when people tell you not to do them, it's hard to do because it's a habit. Humans are creatures of habit. And, when clearly a lot of these players, when they played under Ruben Amorim, looked very, very uncomfortable in that back five system. And that uncomfortable to a point where you watch them in a back five now, they're a back four now, sorry. They're a completely different team. So huge difference. And just look at Dalot. Like Dalot, past couple of games has been fucking, so different. So much better. I'm not saying, he's one of the best right backs in the league or any stretch of an imagination, but considering the levels he was playing at, he just didn't look confident at all. And this could still be a honeymoon period. We've been fooled before by players, haven't we, where, an interim manager comes in and they look a certain way. And then, after 3-4 months, they go back to the old kind of habits again and not doing the same thing. And maybe that'll occur again. I'm not sure. But as of right now, from the games that I've been watching, I think Dalot's been playing pretty well, to be fair. James McGrogan, big up James. Big up everyone else in the chat as well. Leave a like on the video if you can. What I'm going to do is, I was going to do it on this pre-match thing here. The competition that we've done over on our Instagram, which has had over, I think it's like 120,000 views, by the way. So really appreciate that. We've done a competition on our Instagram, giving away a cap, giving away, not these ones, because I've had these ones for a while. So obviously they're not brand new, but a brand new cap, brand new hoodie, and then a mug as well. I've not got the mug on. I never have the mug up here ever when I want to show it. But yeah, we're giving away 3 bundles of merch. So the winner will be announced after the game. So hopefully, it'll be a nice win against Everton, and then we can announce the winner of that. So all the comments that are on Instagram, anyone who's tagged a friend and is following the page will be entered into the draw, and then we'll announce the draw on the post-match review when we cover it when the game finishes against Everton. I think that's probably a good time to do it. Get a good chunk of the community in, and then we can announce it. And then once we get details of address and all that kind of stuff, we'll send the merch off. Hopefully you enjoy it and tag us on Instagram and all that kind of jazz. Back to the team. Midfield, I feel like I haven't been on. So if I'm speaking at, a million miles an hour, I do apologize, but I've not been on for a bit. So there's a lot I need to get off my chest and go through, including the game, which I've not even started speaking about yet. But the midfield, Casemiro, Manu, Bruno, solid. Consistency, nice balance, all different players, all bring different kind of variables to the game. Another game where it's Casemiro's kind of leaving do, if you want to call it that. 12 games left of the season. Is that right? Again, let me have a look. I think 12, 13 games. How many games are on? 26 games are on at the moment. Yeah. So 4 plus 8 equals 12. Quick math. 12 games left of Casemiro. And again, you feel like you're doing a tribute every single time when you talk about him. How important has he been this season? And how much of an inspiration has he been as well? We talk about Harry Maguire and Maguire is on a different scale, which I appreciate. But going through what he went through, Maguire, obviously, all that Greece situation and going back from what he's done was unbelievable. And Casemiro as well. Coming to the club, you arrive at the club as a 5 times Champions League winner, huge reputation, huge money, huge weekly salary, a lot of pressure. The team didn't really get off to a flying start, did they, against Brentford and Brighton? He had to come in and deliver, and he did that in his first season. Second season, this is the conversation that I quite like to have about the second season, because is it a case of, was it him? Was it the coach? I lean more towards the coach than kind of the way he was playing. I feel like Ten Hag threw him under a bus a little bit. He started going to more of a single defensive midfielder and having Mainu and Bruno push on a little bit more, and Cass doesn't really have the legs to deal with that. I feel like you need a midfield that's a lot more kind of connected and is compact and can defend together. And I think we've got that under Michael Carrick at the moment. Even as a team, the way we defend is far much better. When you would watch us under Eric Ten Hag, the spaces that Casemiro would have to cover was unbelievable. And it would kill him, because obviously he's 32, 33. He's not got the legs to do this. He's not a Kante type player. Even at Real Madrid, he had Luka Modric and Toni Kroos in front of him. And they dominate the game quite a lot. Or they could also play on the counter attack, but then sit connected and compact and play. So Casemiro's, goes without saying, he's been unbelievable. Even his goal contributions. I mean, I think he's got 5 goals and 2 assists so far in the Premier League this season. And from a defensive midfield position, it's pretty good. So at the time when we bought him, people would say, what, you buying a 30-year-old for 60 million and 350,000 pounds? Now, maybe that was maybe that was quite ridiculous, paying that amount for the age that he was at. But we would all look at it through a different lens if he was on 200 grand a week or 150 grand a week, whatever, and we paid 50, 40 mil for him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's been a top player, and he's still very, very good now. At some point, the legs will completely come off, and they'll have to make the switch. But he's still one of our best players, and you see it when the impact he leaves when he's off the pitch is huge. And I'm curious to know what Ineos are going to do in the summer when they go and buy a midfielder. Who's going to replace him? Can you fill that hole? Not fill the hole. That sounds dodgy. Can you fill that hole? Sounds a little bit dodgy as well. But yeah, I think it's a massive replacement. But do you know what? I actually trust Ineos to get the right player, because I think their recruitment has been a million times better than what it was under the previous regime. Mbumo, top signing. Cunha, top signing. Who else have we got? Benjamin Sesko. 7 goals is he on at the minute, and he's only been doing sub cameos for the majority of them, and he's still very, very young. Top signing. Le Mans, top signing. Yoro, one for the future, top signing. Aiden Heaven, £1 million, good signing. Obviously, there will be a few stains. Ugates and Xerxes of the world, potentially, you could say. And sometimes players can just come good. I'm not absolutely writing them off, but every team, every recruitment team has, 1 or 2 players where you think don't really fit. But I think for 75% of the recruitment, I think it's been pretty top. So I would trust them to go and get a proper midfielder in to replace Casemiro, to play alongside Kobbie Mainoo. This is Mainoo's 6th game in a row when he couldn't get a sniff under Ruben Amorim. He's going to continue to ask questions of the World Cup. He's got, a tough battle in the middle of the park against Idrissa Gueye and Irabunum, who are dogged in the midfield and are quite good at the jobs. So it's an interesting task there, in a battle in the midfield 3. As for Everton, who's the other one? So you've got, obviously, Garner's at right back. And you've got Idrissa Gueye, Irabunum, and Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall, who, I mean, I've spoken to Alex about that, who you guys all know. He's been on the channel before. I didn't really rate Dewsbury Hall when when I watched him at Chelsea, and maybe it was just because it's Chelsea, there's a lot of players who go there who can't seem to find the feet. There was something about him. I felt like, oh yeah, he did things tidy and he was all right. But you always wanted more from him, and now he's gone to Everton. He seems to find a bit of rhythm, bit of flow state, and looks decent. Looks like, he's having a good season. Obviously scored that banger against us at Old Trafford. He's a top player. He's a top player, and I got it completely wrong on Dewsbury Hall. I think he's a decent, tidy player. So yeah, that midfield makeup again with them, it'd be an interesting battle. But that when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, It's not controversial to say. It's not even strong to say it. He is the best number 10 in world football right now. There isn't anyone who's better. Obviously, we've had 2 weeks off, but that doesn't matter to him. You could put Bruno on a five-a-side game in fucking, I don't know, somewhere in China, in 6 a.m, and he would still play exact same way he's playing. He's so consistent. It's a joke. He'll have his question marks where people can pull up a game like the final, for example, Europa League final, where maybe he went missing. Maybe you could say he went missing in Verdansk. Maybe, a couple of things like that. But overall, he has been Mr. Marvel and Mr. Fantastic, whatever you want to call it. He's been unbelievable. So, yeah, we're very, very lucky to have him. I've seen reports that maybe he's going to stay on after the World Cup and all that kind of stuff, which is good to see, especially if we get Champions League football, which I will not be selling him right now. I don't care. People will call me stupid and saying I've been sensationalist for saying this, but I don't care what offer of money comes in for Bruno Fernandes. Maybe if it's 150 million, 200 million, you take it, right? But even still, that guy is irreplaceable. There is no one in world football who can replicate what he's doing right now, in my opinion. There just isn't. Yeah, maybe you can go get a Cole Palmer, but, is he going to replicate what Bruno does in this team? Is he going to be as important? Is he going to be that leader? Cole Palmer isn't that type. He's a great footballer, and him or Bruno, you can toss of a coin on the day. But Bruno brings more. There's more to him overall as a full package of a player. So you've got to keep hold of him. Got to get hold of him. John saying, would you take stupid money and get Palmer? I think I kind of just answered that question. I won't swap Bruno for anyone right now. Won't swap him for anyone right now. If he keeps performing, which I think he probably could for a good few years, keep him. You don't need to replace him. You don't need to disrupt the balance. I'm looking at this team now. I'm like, if they can compete at this level now, what we're doing, we just beat Arsenal at the Emirates, beat Man City, beat Tottenham, beat Fulham, beating tough teams, apart from Tottenham, who were shit. I know there's a little bit of a slip against West Ham, but if they can replicate that kind of form, you will be challenging near the top. But you've got to make a few tweaks in that team. Casemiro's going to go. You need a big investment in the midfield. If you go get Anderson and a Belieber, or let's say they go get Anderson and they go in Europe and go get Steeler or someone like that, really revamp that midfield, because you're going to be in 4 competitions. Don't forget next season. Hopefully, you'll stay in them for a little bit longer than you did this season. Invest in that midfield. You've got quite a good selection of centre backs, in my opinion, to choose from. You probably need to go buy a wing back. Dorgu will come back into the 4, but you probably still need another winger just across the front, or just an attacking player in general. And I think you can start competing. I really, really do. But the recruitment's got to be right again. 2 to 3 windows. I think Ragnick said this. 2, 3 really, really good transfer windows, and you could be back at the top again in football. But they've got to be good, and they've got to be solid and consistent. And like I said before with Ineos, I think they'll probably do that. As for the front 3, it's weird, isn't it? I love all the front 3 players. I think all of them are special in their own way. But if I'm to pick one who's probably out of form a little bit at the moment, it's probably Ahmad, isn't it? He's only got 2 goals and 2 assists this season so far. And I know football isn't all about stats. He's had games where he's done really, really well. I'm sure he's hit the woodwork quite a bit. He's the assist, these kind of things. But out of the 3, he's probably one out of form the most, which is bizarre because last season he had a period in the team where he was the go-to guy. Like, he was doing something every game. And he's still a top quality player. I'm not writing him off by any means. I mean, I literally, if I could find the shirt, is it on there? Oh, is it this one? The boy. Can you see it? Shit. Oh, shit. The boy is literally on the back. You know what I mean? Like, I love him. I absolutely love him, adore him as a player, but he has been a little bit out of form, and it's okay. It's okay. We've got other players to chip in. And Bumo being one of them, top goal scorer at the minute, double figures so far in the Premier League. I look at the money that's been spent around in the Prem at the minute, and I think, dear me, some people have got some stinking deals there. I look at Ilanga, who I love Ilanga as a player. I thought he was really, really good for Nottingham Forest. I thought he suited it there. I don't blame him for moving to Newcastle, but at the time I was kind of like, I don't know if that's the right deal. 50 odd million pound hasn't really worked out. You look at Noni Madueke as well, 55 million pound. He's weird, Madueke, because when I watch him, he reminds me, like, it's weird to say, but standing up a fullback 1v1, he's probably one of the best in the league at it. Like, he's that good, but his consistency in his end product just isn't there at all, and that's 55 million quid. I'm trying to think, there was loads of wingers that went for like around that price, and players being bought, and we paid a little bit extra to get Mbeumo, ended up being 70 million quid. But look at the impact. You pay for what you get, quality, and Mbeumo's been top. And again, it's scary to think he's still technically not in his prime yet, and neither is Mateus Cunha, another one who 60 million quid. Brought him in, Prem proven, from a team that was below us, and has, with Cunha, it's a weird one because Cunha is a top player, right? You can clearly see that, and he has the minerals to play for United. He has this thing where he'll be very, very quiet in a game, and then that can change in a snap of a finger. You can do what he did at the Emirates and win the game, and that's why you buy someone like Mateus Cunha. But he does have periods in the game where his touch will be a little bit off. He goes a little bit quiet, and then he'll come back into it. So that's my only kind of criticism, Mateus Cunha, and that's why I was questioning him a little bit in kind of the earlier stages, and it's mainly when Ruben Amorim was in certain games where we just looked off, and I was like, I expected more from him, but he has definitely took a step up, and has started to contribute a lot more. So happy with that front three. Goes without saying, you all know I love Benjamin Sesko. I don't need to speak about him. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. I think, in my opinion, I would have started him in this game. I would have pushed Mbeumo out wide. I would have dropped Ahmad, and I would have started Benjamin Sesko. And if you look at the majority of goals that Everton have conceded, they've been crosses into the box. And where did we score against West Ham? Crosses into the box, Sesko. I think this is... I don't know. Who am I to doubt Michael Carrick, right? He's obviously an unbelievable manager and knows football way more than I do. Against Everton, they defend quite deep in a low block. You're gonna be wanting to put crosses into the box. We were screaming out for Sesko in like the 50th, 60th minute in the last game. I think it's going to be a similar vibe in this game. Should have gone with him from the start and pushed Mbeumo out wide. I'll happily eat my words if Ahmad has a top game and Mbeumo scores a couple of goals. I'll be the first person after the game discussing it with you lot, saying I got it wrong. But that's just my opinion. That's the one change I would have made. I would have gone with Benjamin Sesko. Andy's saying, if you play compact, you don't need that much legs, only when Ten Hag donut formation. Exactly. Spot on, Andy, as always. John saying, I even bought Cass into my fantasy football team. Goal threat. Yeah, huge threat from set pieces. Andy's great for set pieces in terms of defending our box. Sesko has 5 in his last 6 games. That's what I mean. The guy's on fire, man. Unbelievable. No chance to keep Bruno for another year. I disagree. I think we will. I think he'll stay for another year. I'd say he's giving Ahmad another chance after the break. He'll be the man tonight. I hope he is. Bruno is from that Cuban fighter program. If you know, you know. And Mbeumo, I think, needs to step it up against low blocks. Yeah, again, I think Mbeumo got player of the month, right, Andy? In November, was it? Something like that? November-ish or October. And then it might have been actually November, the month where he just flat. Did hardly anything. And it was a lot of the teams that we played in that period, I'm pretty sure, was defending quite deep and making it difficult for us, and we couldn't break them down. But again, it's a new role for him, innit? We haven't seen him in that striker role a lot, and I know that front three is quite fluid. Mbeumo will go out wide on the left, Cunha will drift into that 9, and it's nice to see that. But I don't know, against a team like Everton, I just feel like Sesko's a more prominent figure in the middle of the park you can play balls into. But maybe Carrick's just like, he's thinking, listen, he's getting goals from the bench at the moment. I want more senior experienced players on there. And maybe that's why he's doing it. I don't know. Like I said, who am I to question Michael Carrick, right? As for expectations from the game, let me know your thoughts and opinions on it. How do you see this game playing out? Do you think it'd be with there being 2 weeks since both teams have played a game? I think 13 days since Everton played, 14 days since we played or whatever. How do you see it playing? Do you think the rhythm will be off a little bit, tempo, a bit of a slow burner, and then after 20, 30 minutes, if a goal goes in, kicks into gear? I know Everton, from a statistical point of view, they've got 9 clean sheets this season, so a tough team to break down. I said before, in my opinion, it'd be a similar game to West Ham. So yeah, tricky game for us. 2 wins in the last 5, and they're drawing a lot, Everton, at the minute. I thought I always like to watch the teams before we play them, so a couple of games just to see where they're at. I thought Armstrong looked interesting against Bournemouth. He's a young attacking player for them, 19 years old. Njai is always a threat 1v1 against any team in Europe. Is dangerous. He's just got that thing about him. I think he's probably going to get a big move in the summer. I'm not sure what the contract situation is with him, but he's a top player. And also with them being at home, I don't think they've got the best record at home, but the crowd is always something with Everton. Obviously at Goodison Park, it would always get on top of you, but I do think the crowd are going to play their part tonight. But I think it's going to start slow. I think it's going to be rhythmless, if that's a word. I think it'll take a while for the tempo to get going, but once it does get going, I think we'll have a game on our hands. And it goes without saying, I always pull up the Premier League table, but that's a measurement of where we're at, right? We've had, obviously, the whole drama with Arsenal and Man City. We don't really need to be looking towards there because we're not going to win the league this season, unfortunately. But they're in a 2-horse race, you would say now. Villa dropped out of it, 5 points behind Man City. If we win tonight, we go 3 points behind Villa, and then you can start dragging them into the Champions League fight, and we start becoming favourites then, and the conversation starts happening at us being favourites for Champions League football. Chelsea dropped points against Burnley. I think Fleming scored for Burnley at the 93rd minute, something ridiculous. So they've dropped points. Aston Villa dropped points. Liverpool very, very nearly dropped points. Van Dijk was onside by like that much, and that would be a huge goal for them because now they're level on points with Chelsea and they're level on points with us. But we've got a game in hand, so we need to win tonight. And I get PTSD from saying this because how many times, and you will all know, how many times this season have we been in a situation where we can capitalize on other teams around us dropping points and we haven't done it? So really frustrating. Hopefully they do it tonight. I mean, Everton themselves are on 37 points. They're in 9th position. They could start pushing for Conference League, potentially something like that. They're 3 points behind Brentford. So they've got an incentive to go after, as any Premier League team should. But, that's why I think that's going to be tough as well. And those individual players that I mentioned before, the likes of Dewsbury Hall and Njai, they'll cause problems. So I need a drink, man. My throat's so fucking dry. Give me a minute. I think I left my can. 2 seconds. Oh, sorry, my bad. By the way, I don't know if anyone's had this, right? That is one of the worst drinks in the world, honestly. Tango Strawberry Smash. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But it's the only cans that we've got in a minute, so. My throat is so dry. Oh, my nose is so itchy as well. Oh. Promise you I'm not on any narcotics. Nose is just really, really itchy. Right. I'm out of breath from running up the stairs. God, I'm so out of shape. Michael Carrick has provided an update on Lisandro Martinez. He says, yes, unfortunately, he's picked up something during the week. It doesn't seem too bad at all, but we're just kind of working through that at the moment. So he's not available tonight. He's obviously done well, Leacher, for us, and it's disappointing. But Lenny came in and did particularly well at West Ham. So Lenny comes in and we'll try and move forward. That's from Michael Carrick. United substitutes have already scored more goals under Michael Carrick than during the entirety of Ruben Amorim's time in the Premier League. That's because Ruben Amorim's subs were absolute dog shit. Like, he'd bring on centre-backs, so obviously they're not going to score. Always really, really weird, his substitutions. Bruno Fernandes before Michael Carrick, under Ruben Amorim and under Michael Carrick in the Premier League this season. So, let's have a look at this. This is interesting. Appearances. So, under Ruben Amorim, 18 appearances, 8 assists. Under Michael Carrick, 5 appearances, 4 assists. And don't forget, by the way, he's still going for that assist record, 20 assists in the league, which is held by Kevin De Bruyne and Thierry Henry. I'll just say Kevin Henry then, and Thierry De Bruyne. Touches per 90, obviously touched the ball a lot more under Ruben Amorim because he was playing in a deeper role. Chances created per 90, so under Ruben Amorim it's 3.3. Under Michael Carrick's 4.4 from open play per 90, 2 under Ruben Amorim, 3.8 under Carrick. So clearly a lot more involved. Interestingly enough, he had more shots per 90 as the deeper one, and maybe that's because he's advancing towards the edge of the box. I don't know how, like, what world that works, but had more shots in the deeper role under Amorim per 90. And then in terms of percentages of passes into the final third, 39% under Ruben Amorim, 51% under Michael Carrick. So it's weird, isn't it? Look at Bruno Fernandes, you think, one of the best creative midfielders in the league, let's play him in a deeper role. So fucking bizarre. And them 10 positions under Amorim, it weren't really suited to Bruno. I think we all kind of agreed with that. But then when you see him when with like a 4-2-3-1 as the 10, the guy's unbelievable, man. Honestly, such a game changer. And it's so nice and refreshing to see Carrick. And I got asked about this. I was on BBC Manchester the other day, and he was asking me about what do you think Carrick has done that he's been able to get, these top levels of performances out of these players. And he's just simplified so many things. He's just like, bring Kobe back in, play him in the midfield 3, push Bruno up a little bit more, put Luke Shaw back in the wing-back role where he's played the majority of his life, put Dalot back in the wing, full-back role, where they played majority of their life, put some experience back in the team when Maguire and Lisandro starting. Heaven and Euro don't need to start every game. The top talents, they'll be the ones for the future. And then, okay, we don't want to start Benjamin Sesko. He's still young, he's still learning. Let's put Mbeumo up top, push Ahmad back into the position where he was playing really, really good. And then use Cunha off the left. Like, it's common sense in it, really, when you think about it. Like, so many fans and you guys in the chat, everyone in the community, everyone was saying the same things. Like, why is he not doing this? Why is he doing that? And at times with Ruben Amorim, a lot of us on this channel would say it just felt like self-sabotage. We didn't really understand the decisions that he would be making at times. And it's just, yeah, I'd love to know what he's thinking now. He's looking at this team perform, thinking, maybe I should have switched up. Because clearly he's been very stubborn on the way he wanted to set up and the way he wanted to play, regardless of however the team would play. Like, nope, this is the way I want to go. This is my principle. And sometimes that's admirable when it's a manager and you've got a philosophy. Like, I get it. But when it got to a point that much where it just clearly wasn't working, you have to change something, man. And you've seen it now. Like, we're favourites for Champions League positions at the minute, especially if we win tonight. And that's because of Michael Carrick, who's been speaking about Benjamin Sesko starting on the bench. He said he's still learning. He's still young. He's still adapting to kind of life here as well. I'm delighted the way he's going. He's taking big steps, even in the short time we've been together, and he's in a good place. There's a little bit of being, I won't say careful. I think this is managing it as well. And he's ready. He looks like a real threat. He looks like a real presence. He's confident. We've got selections to make, and it's not always straightforward, but certainly haven't been come on and finish games as he's done recently. It's a great thing for us to have. He's going to be a big player at this club for a long time. I've been hugely impressed with what he's done already, but I think there's loads more to come from him, so I'm really excited about that. That's massive, massive praise from Carrick. And Carrick is someone who, he doesn't get ahead of himself. He doesn't... That surprises me, to be honest, a quote from Carrick saying that, because he's very measured in a lot of the things he says. But clearly, he likes Sesko and what he's seen from Benjamin Sesko. So interested to see if we're just getting going with him at the minute, and he's got 5 goals in his last 6 games. I'm excited to see what he could do. I really, really am. On Carrick being head coach, Gary Neville's just been speaking, saying, I'm not against Carrick being appointed as permanent head coach. I love him. I think he did an incredible job so far, but I just feel Manchester United should go for the best in-class manager available. Where are you guys at with this at the minute? Because I think it'd be interesting to get a general consensus on this. And in fact, let me start a poll. We all like a poll, right? Let's put a poll up. Oh, shit. There we go. Would you give Michael Carrick the job right now, or still give it to another manager? I swear I must have like nose hair or something because it's so fucking itchy. I can't stop itching it. Carrick, another manager. Gun to your head right now. I'll put that poll in. Interested to see where people are at with this, because sometimes people I'm more on the fence at the minute, and people might think I'm weird for saying this, but I would lean more towards what Gary Neville's saying in terms of going for like an Enrique, something like that. But I also see the side with Carrick where it's like, do you want to change it? It's that unknown in it. I wouldn't want to be in the house in the summer making that decision, because we could bring someone inexperienced and someone who's done it before. Even someone like Enrique hasn't managed in the Premier League. I know he's won a treble with PSG, won a treble with Barcelona. He's obviously an incredible manager and plays an exciting brand of football. But the Premier League is a different beast entirely. So let's say we bring in Enrique, doesn't work out for whatever reason, and we end up getting rid of him. Everyone then is going to be saying, why didn't you keep Carrick when you had the chance? Let's say he wins 10 out of 14 games when he comes in. Why didn't you keep him when you had the chance? So it's a minefield, isn't it? Real minefield. Dan's in the chat. Big up, Dan. Need to integrate Sesko into the system. Can't imagine us challenging for titles while playing your winger as a striker. I don't know. Don't forget Pep Guardiola did it, didn't he? Won with a false 9. Played Sterling there at times. Played Foden there at times. Like, it's doable, but I get what you're saying. The majority of teams who've won something big have won it with a striker up top. I mean, Liverpool won the league last year. Who did they have up top as a striker? I'm trying to think. And won it with Firmino, don't forget. He wasn't a prominent number 9. He was another one who's kind of false 9. So who did Liverpool have as a striker last season? Before Isaac came in. And Ekitike. Oh my God. Someone please remind me in the chat. Why can't I think of the number 9? Why has my head gone completely blank? I'll have to get this up. That's going to really, really bug me. Someone's going to remind me in the chat. Players. Nunes? Yeah, Darwin Nunes, yeah. Exactly. If Liverpool won a league with fucking Darwin Nunes up top, you can do anything, mate. You could put Dalot up top. You know what I'm saying? So it's doable, was my original point. Sorry. It's how it pans out at the end. If Carrick gets us Champions League and everyone is happy within the club, give him a 2-year deal. He's unbeaten over 2 periods so far. We can't afford to drop points today. I've heard that. 100% of people going for Carrick in the chat as well. One thing I will say about Michael Carrick before I get into the 4 things to keep an eye on. Michael Carrick has the temperament to manage Man United. 1, because he's been as a player and has dealt with the pressure and has won trophies. 2, just his overall personality doesn't get overwhelmed by anything. He is so level-headed, regardless of the situation. Whether it's difficult questions that are being asked in the press conference, whether it's quick decisions you got to make in-game, you can do it. That's something I've been really impressed with Michael Carrick. He manages how he played. Like, I just think there's such a resemblance in both of that. And I think you do need that. Like, Ruben Amorim would be really, really emotional on the sideline. And sometimes that could be good for players. They could tap into that. But a lot of the times as well, like, especially when we have a captain like Bruno, and they would also get over emotional and it get in the way. And the interviews at times and dealing with the press is just a completely different thing at Man United. So I think he's got the temperament for that. So that's something that's definitely a feather in his cap. But my only thing would be with when we get into like Champions League football, if we get into Champions League football next season, how is he going to fare when he's coming up against the big dogs in Europe? Because he hasn't really managed in the Champions League. How's he going to do juggling 4 competitions and a much bigger squad? Not to say he didn't manage a big squad at Middlesbrough, but obviously it's night and day difference in it. So they're the things I would throw to someone who's pushing for a Carrick to be the full-time manager. Now, as for 4 things to keep an eye on in this game, people, I'm usually, and you can go back and check the tapes if you don't think I am, I'm usually relatively good with these things. 3 out of 4, I would say. I don't get right, but a lot of times they are. I did have Mikolenko yellow card because I thought Mikolenko versus Ahmad is a mismatch, but obviously they've gone with Branthwaite. So I might still go with Branthwaite to get a yellow because Branthwaite's quite clunky. He's quick and strong, but Ahmad's got those kind of fast twitch movements on it. So I'll go Branthwaite yellow card. I'll go Maguire to score. Remember me saying this. Man United clean sheet. And United to win 3-0. That's what I'll go with. I'm being positive. It's been a 2-week stint. I think 3-0 is a lot to ask, especially against Everton, who were quite good under Moyes defensively. But I think they'll be up for it. I think they'll be raring to go. Lisandro will be a miss, but there's still more than enough quality on that pitch to get the job done. So please do get your score predictions in and 4 things you see happening in this game. Don't forget, we will be live straight after the game with a post-mortem, discussing it in full detail, and we'll also be announcing the winner of the huge free giveaway that's on our Instagram. So we've got all the names together and a list, and we'll do a random generator or something like that, and it will reveal the winner. So if you have entered the competition, you'll find out tonight if you've won it, and if you have won it, you'll get a cap, a hoodie, and a mug from our merch store sent out to you as soon as possible. Appreciate every single one of you. Like the video, subscribe to the channel.